In a dramatic escalation that has captured national attention and sparked heated conversations across political, legal, and media circles, Senator J.D. Vance has delivered a serious and uncompromising warning, declaring, "We're going after you." Words that, since being spoken, have quickly become the subject of scrutiny, debate, and analysis, raising important questions about what exactly the senator meant, who his intended audience might be, and what the broader consequences of such a statement could entail. And tonight we take you through a detailed examination of the context surrounding this remark, the varied interpretations offered by supporters and critics alike, the way it has been received by the public, and the potential ripple effects this could have on the nation's already tense political environment. The first thing to note is that the phrase itself is open-ended, powerful, and charged with emotion. And while it conveys determination and resolve, it leaves ample room for speculation, with some observers interpreting it as a clear sign of Vance's willingness to directly confront those he sees as responsible for undermining political processes, while others caution that such strong rhetoric risks deepening divisions at a time when unity and dialogue are already fragile. But regardless of interpretation, the impact is undeniable. These 5 words have dominated headlines, driven social media discussions, and placed Senator Vance at the very center of a growing national conversation about accountability, power, and political strategy. Supporters of the senator have been quick to frame the statement as a rallying cry, arguing that it reflects the frustration of millions of ordinary Americans who feel ignored, dismissed, or betrayed by institutions they believe should be protecting their interests. And for them, Vance's words are not a threat, but a promise. A promise that someone in Washington is willing to fight back against what they see as corruption, overreach, or misuse of power. Critics, however, have a starkly different view, warning that this type of language can easily escalate tensions, blur the line between political discourse and personal threat, and feed into an environment where anger, suspicion, and hostility overshadow any real effort at constructive problem-solving. And some analysts argue that phrases like, "We're going after you," may energize a political base, but can also alienate moderates, independents, and undecided voters who are weary of inflammatory rhetoric and want to see solutions rather than confrontations. To better understand the significance of Vance's warning, it helps to place it within a broader historical and political context, because throughout American history, powerful words have often defined eras of political conflict. From moments like President Nixon's famous denials during Watergate to President Clinton's combative defenses during impeachment, and more recently the rhetoric surrounding investigations into election integrity or classified documents, and in each of these moments, language shaped perception, influenced outcomes, and left a lasting impact on how the public viewed both the individuals involved and the institutions meant to hold them accountable. Vance's statement now joins that lineage, raising the question of whether it will be remembered as a turning point that galvanized a movement, or as another example of rhetoric intensifying polarization without resolving the underlying issues. Beyond history, there is also the question of timing. Why now, and why in this way? And political strategists suggest that strong statements like this often serve multiple purposes, functioning not only as direct warnings to opponents, but also as signals to supporters, reminders of loyalty to a cause, and attention-grabbing tools in an increasingly crowded media landscape, where a bold phrase can dominate coverage far more effectively than a detailed policy plan ever could. Yet, even as the senator's words resonate, the reactions they have generated reveal the country's deep divide, with allies praising the courage to confront entrenched power structures and opponents condemning the statement as reckless and dangerous. And this polarization reflects a larger trend, where every phrase uttered by a public figure is immediately dissected, framed, and weaponized by opposing sides in the endless struggle for influence, power, and narrative control. Legal and political experts alike have weighed in, noting that while the statement itself does not carry legal implications, its interpretation could influence public perception of ongoing investigations, policy debates, and even electoral dynamics, reminding us once again that in politics, perception often matters as much as reality. Social media platforms have amplified the controversy, with hashtags trending, clips being shared, and countless commentators offering their takes, turning a single sentence into a national talking point that overshadows other pressing issues. And as this continues to unfold, voters are left to interpret the meaning for themselves. Is this a message of justice, accountability, and strength? Or is it an escalation that risks undermining democratic discourse? And what does it say about the state of a nation where bold threats resonate more loudly than measured dialogue? One thing is clear. Vance's words have struck a chord, and whether celebrated as a promise of action or condemned as a dangerous provocation, they have ensured that his voice and his message remain at the forefront of political debate in the weeks and months to come, influencing strategies, shaping headlines, and perhaps even altering the trajectory of future elections, because in the world of politics, words are weapons, and once spoken, they cannot be taken back, only responded to, interpreted, and remembered. And so the phrase, "We're going after you," will echo long after the news cycle moves on, leaving a nation to wonder what comes next, how far the rhetoric will go, and what consequences, intended or unintended, may follow.